All right, and I will start sharing screen. I will send this to you guys. The PowerPoint presentation, I will send it to you all when we're done. I was gonna send it to you beforehand, but then I thought, you know what? I've probably got a typo or I probably made an error. I want to fix it before I send it to you. So we will see. All right. Let's see. All right. So welcome to our second training. We're going to start off with your questions. I was going to say, don't forget to just ask questions whenever, but we're going to start with your questions. Then, of course, if you have questions throughout, don't hesitate. This is a training for you. I want to go over the parts of the application that are the appendices, talk more about the mission-specific goals, give you some examples on presenting and verifying the data. I have some Part C examples for you. I want to talk about the application submissions, what the site visits, the renewal site visits are like, and then give you a little bit of an understanding of what the hearing process is like and what that presentation is like, and then looking forward to contract negotiations. So first, your questions. Does anybody have any questions from the get-go? Which I recognize maybe this isn't the best place to put this first thing, but we can always have questions at the end as well throughout if nobody has any questions after the first training. All right, well, hearing none, remember you just unmute yourself. Yes, Nadine.
We didn't get the slides from the first training.
What?
Did you send them out?
I will send them out. I will send out. I'm making myself a note.
And hi, Missy. Oh, I should put my name.
Karen.
Hi. I just wanted to ask about, I thought, and maybe I just got this wrong, but I thought that the same link was going to be used every time and it didn't work. So can you make sure?
I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do the same link over multiple days. So if I told you guys that, I apologize extremely.
It might have been me, but
I did not. I don't know how to do that.
So can you add me to the list of invites when you send out? Because I don't think I got an updated invite for this training.
I thought that I did have you on my list. So
You did, because I got the slideshow. So
well, I sent it to you and not Nadine. So I don't know what's been happening with me this spring, but I will make sure that everybody has the slides, and I will make sure that Karen, you're on the list. So
thank you so much.
Yeah, sorry about that. All right, so we'll talk about appendices. So there's a bunch of appendices that are required. There's a slight change to previous applications. Like, for example, why don't we have a C1? I don't know. I have no idea. But there is no C1, so don't worry about a C1. So there are appendices that everybody's going to have to do and supply, and there are some appendices that are required only if you feel like you need to explain something. So that is the academic data. So, if you're a spotlight school, if your school is performing really well academically for all of your student groups, that's enough. You don't have to give us a lot of data on like how you're doing. If you've got a subgroup that hasn't been performing well, or your overall is not a spotlight, and you want to, you should want to, in your narrative, provide some data to support your narrative, then please provide that in Appendix A1. Does that make sense to everybody? Or if it doesn't make sense to you, please just raise your hand or. Okay. Everybody has to provide mission goal data. Now, if you are a district authorized school and you're going to be transitioning, you don't have necessarily mission goal data. So that would be a not applicable for a transition year school. There's a whole other appendices table for transition year schools, which is later on in the presentation. B1 is regarding formal complaints. So this is, again, not applicable unless your school has received an official complaint. Then you have to notify us. This would be something that somebody's filed through the Office of Special Education or the Attorney General's office or something like that, right? This isn't just, you know, Jenny's mom complained that her kid doesn't like your lunch, right? It's not that. It's a formal level of complaints. So I'm hoping for all of you that'll be a not applicable. Jumping to D1 is the employee petitions. That is required. The household petitions also required. Those are signatures from your staff and your current families this year, right now, you have at your school that they want your school to continue. What you're including in your application is the affidavit that you have signed as the head administrator and gotten notarized, that you have the signatures and that they meet the threshold of the 65% and the 75%. So when the site visit team comes to look at the school and do the site visit, they can verify that you have the signatures at that time, but we do not want signatures being electronically transmitted, except for yours. We do want yours and whoever you get to notarize it, but we don't want the signatures of your staff and your families. Everybody understand that? Okay, we do need a copy of your e-occupancy certificate, a copy of your lease, and a copy of your facilities master plan. All right, so mission specific
Missy.
goal date, yes.
Sorry.
No, that's okay, John, go ahead.
On the lease stuff, so we actually purchased our building earlier this year.
Yay.
Yay, finally, after 24 years or whatever. What do we do for that? Do we have to supply a certain document or whatever?
A good question. It's
On the
I'll have
facility?
to, pardon? Eric, do you have the answer for that?
John, were you referring to the facility master plan?
No,
No,
he's
the-
referring to the lease.
Okay. Probably purchase
So-
agreement.
Maybe the purchase agreement, I don't know if you've had to turn anything in for that. So I've made a note and I will find out.
Okay.
Anybody
did a-
else?
We did a
own their building?
short-term lease to purchase agreement that just took a couple months as we were wrapping stuff up. So we've now fully executed it.
Great.
Yeah.
Excellent. And so maybe, you know, it's possible that they'll be like, oh, we want the lease purchase agreement. That's over now. I don't know, but I will find out and I'll get back to you
Okay,
as soon as
thank you.
I am told. Does anybody else need me to get that information back to them? All right, so if you're state authorized and you're renewing your contract, you have mission specific goals that you have been working on and hopefully reporting out on every year of your contract term. This is really your opportunity to help bolster whatever your academic data has been saying. So, you know, again, if you're a spotlight school, that's awesome. This is just more evidence of how awesome you are. If you're not a spotlight school, this can be a great way to really emphasize to the commission the overall really deep importance of your program in your community. So, and they're very interested. They really, really want to know. They've made a lot of changes for your next contract term on mission goals. So you will be asked in your narrative for you know, an overall of what the school's mission goal has been and how you feel like it's done. There is an appendices for the data. We do want that masked to protect personally identifiable information. And again, you should have 4 years worth of data to present for your contract term.
So that's all done.
If you haven't met your mission specific goals in each year, in your narrative, address whatever improvement actions you've taken throughout your narratives. Always focus on the adult actions that the school has been taking to make improvements. And remember, it is okay to have tried something and it didn't work the way you wanted to. I'm hesitating to say that it failed. I'm not saying, you know, that you failed at something, but if you've tried something and it didn't quite get you what you thought you were going to get, you know, talk about how you learned from that and what you've done to kind of try to get at a better outcome. So again, you know, those adult actions. When we leave out a year where we tried something and it didn't quite work, it makes it look like you didn't do anything that year, right? So it's better to say, you know, this is what we tried. It didn't work quite as what we had hoped for, and we made this shift, and we're doing this now. That's really valuable information, and it shows the adult actions.
Do you want me to start?
So, and again, the site visit team will be looking for evidence to verify this at the renewal site visit. So I've given an example here from Middle College High School, which I thought they had a well-written when they had 2 mission-specific goals. Spoiler alert, I am going to be encouraging all of you to have 1 mission-specific goal next year or next contract term if you've had 2, but a lot of people have 2 and that's their choice. So they had 2 mission-specific goals to increase student involvement in post-secondary education. So I don't want to read through the entire narrative, but you will have it as an example to refer back to when I send this to you, because it's rather lengthy and I did include all of their narrative. It wasn't the longest narrative, it wasn't the shortest narrative, but I did want to give you an example of a successful narrative. So goes on. This is the data that they presented, and this is a bit of an example before the presenting data example, but it really is in a line with that next section that's going to be, I'm talking about in a few more minutes. The school shows the percentage of enrollment, the school year, the table is very easy to understand. Karen?
Thanks, Missy. I just want to know, clarify, like if the school has met or exceeded their mission goals, we just provide the information about that, or is there also a narrative around that? Or did I read that right? Is the narrative-
I mean, I think if you've met, and I think has Explore Las Cruces started using, I know you really liked the new mission reporting template. Have you guys been using that at Explore Las Cruces? Is that who's up for renewal? I think it's
Yes, yes, Explore Academy Las Cruces is up for renewal, and we have not yet used the
Okay.
new template, but the goals, yeah.
You've exceeded it every year. I think
or
that then your
exceed.
narrative would be, we have exceeded our goal every year of our contract. You don't, Cheryl's on, and I can ask Cheryl or Lucy's on as well. If a renewal school has met their goal every year of their contract term, do we even need to have them have an appendices, just a narrative saying we've met it, we've exceeded it?
I know last year we did accept applications that just had a brief narrative explaining that they met it and they didn't add the appendices. And I think that's still okay. I think that's more of a director's question or sort of question, but yeah.
And
So
we could certainly
we'll go with that, but I will
Okay.
ask the director, and I will let everybody know if the director says otherwise.
I guess at worst case, we could just attach the reports for the mission goal data from each year, yeah?
Yeah, but we have it, so
Yeah,
you shouldn't have
exactly.
to attach it, right?
Thanks. Yeah, thanks.
I'm just making a note. Mission appendices. Exceed. All right. And then this is their other graph for their other mission. So you can see, I'd like to point out the scale on the left, 0 to 100, is the same on both. We really do want you to make sure that the data that you're presenting in a graph form, you're using a similar type of scale so that the commissioners have an easier time understanding the data that you're representing. To advancing. Yeah. All right, so I do want to take a little bit of time to talk about your next mission goal term, because I think it's important for you to have this in your head. So this is not for this goal. This is not for this contract term. This is not for this application. This will be for your next contract term to keep in mind that you have to assess all of your students on your mission goal. So if you assess fewer than 85% of your students, you will automatically be given a does not meet. So the commission love missions, they love your mission goals, and they want to know that your mission is impactful for all of your students in all of the grades. So you can have 2 goals if you would like. One of the goals, if you have 2 goals, one of the goals has to be assessed for all of your students, and then you could have a second goal that was for just a single cohort or grade level. This is one of the categories in your next contract. Well, I think in this contract you can exceed it, meet it, work to meet, or does not meet it. And so the goal of your future mission goal is going to be that showing really how all of your students are better off by attending your school. The data will have to be disaggregated by the different grade levels. And we're going to be having everybody start using the tracking, the mission goal reporting template that looks like this. I make the mission goal template for your school, and so I customize it to take out the grade levels that you do not serve. So, but this is just an example of what it looks like if you're a K through 12. So again, I'll be pestering you all about this probably in October and November, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of a sneak peek into how mission goals are shifting. Eric.
Thanks, Missy. I don't want to read into it too much. Because it's broken down by grade, if I had one grade that didn't meet, does that mean I don't meet the entire metrics because one grade didn't meet, or is it not necessarily assessed that way?
Not really assessed that way, but you would be indicating in the targets. So if you were to indicate, like, in order to meet or exceed, every single one of my student groups has to achieve this. But typically people are the targets, people are saying my entire school, 80% of my entire school will do this.
That's okay.
And so that's typically what people are doing.
As we
And
have.
yeah, and I think that you can have, and I'll save myself and we'll go over the example when we get to it, because I love to jump. John, you have a question.
Is the tracking tool, is this tracking tool something we're gonna use this year to report our mission
No.
goals?
You're not using it this year. I'm sorry,
Okay.
they've just started jackhammering outside my office. So no, you aren't using it this year.
Okay,
This is not for this application, but I think that it really will make both your reporting out to your board every year and reporting to CSD every year of your charter application, there won't be any question. You'll know whether you exceeded, met, approached, or didn't meet.
that's okay. I hadn't
Yeah.
seen it before and I just wanted to make sure I didn't
Yeah,
miss something.
no, you're not using,
How
it's
I'm
not part of
reporting.
this application in any way, shape, or
Okay.
form. Karen.
On the prior slide, I think you had something about data being, I'm not sure what it said. Can you go back one slide? Disaggregated by student groups for mission goals?
Yes.
So,
So that means by grade level, just
oh, okay. I thought you meant by subgroups. Never mind.
first graders, second graders, third graders. John.
Thanks. Got it.
You still have a question, John? No, you
No,
asked
sorry,
a
I
question.
forgot to
You're
put
just
my
lowering
hand.
your hand, sorry. All right. Cannot believe they're doing that right now. I should have gone into Bridget's office. So anyway, I don't need to go over, that's just a closer image. Oh, this is an example. And again, I just want to give you guys an example of what it's gonna look like, just so that you have it in your head. So really it's just we're writing it the same way that we've written them before with these targets. The targets are pretty much what gets negotiated. But it's just, we have this way of reporting using a template that makes it more understandable for the commissioners across all of the schools. Okay, so on to presenting and verifying data. We do want you to use consistent graphic representations in your data. So data needs to be verifiable. That's the basis of the site visits. The Charter Schools Division will come and have a site visit in October, and they'll potentially ask to be able to verify the things that you've said in your application, and that's what you should have in mind. So like I said, you're not going to send the signatures from Part D. So if you've got if you've got a petition for your households and your staff, that's an electronic thing that they're signing, or you've got paper sign-in sheets that they're indicating that yes, they want the school to be renewed. You're not sending any of that. You're keeping that with you, and the site visit team will ask to see that when they're there. So we do want the X and Y axes to be clearly labeled. It's better if we can have X being the year and Y the achievement. You want to have longitudinal data from the current contract term that will allow them to understand and see the trends in your data. We have a lot of new commissioners on still. I would say I would consider them new. They're not, some of them are data wonks and some of them aren't. And so just making it easy to interpret is going to work in your favor. And then if you didn't meet a goal in a year or, you know, overall, again, I think that's fine as long as you're talking about what you've learned from it, how you're using strategies to address, making sure that there is more equity in your mission goals, or, you know, basically, what have you learned? What is your takeaway? What are you doing differently in hopes to achieve that? When you're submitting data, whether it's for your academic data or your mission goal or any of the appendices, don't limit yourself to just the data that's collected by the PED. The PEC can already look at that. So like one of the things that some of you have probably heard me talk about, and I've talked about in the past, you know, there might be, if you're a high school and you're getting kids that are coming to at 9th grade reading at a 2nd grade level, and you get them to graduate in 6 years, or even let's say 7. So let's say you've missed that 6-year cohort. That's still pretty impressive. That you took a 2nd grader and got them 10 years of teaching in a 7-year period. That's huge, right? So like thinking outside the box with how that data, I would say that's a legitimate thing to think about a child from their academic age versus their biological age. I think that's very interesting. All right, any other questions about the data? No. Okay.
Missy, I have a reminder
Okay,
about that. When submitting any kind of data, make sure that it is redacted, that we don't have any student names or student identification numbers
Yeah.
listed. Last year and in the previous year, we had schools submit information, the data with that information. So then we had to go in and redact it ourselves before it was posted to the website. So just be very mindful to redact all of that information.
thanks, Lucy. And I'd say if any of you have a question, like, is this, you know, I'm getting this ready, is this okay? Just reach out and we'll let you know. Oh no, we need you to redact that, you know. So we can help give you guidance around that as well. Thanks for that reminder, Lucy. All right, Karen.
Sorry, I thought
No,
student
no.
IDs we couldn't use because no one
Yeah.
except folks with, Lucy mentioned student IDs, so I just want to clarify. We can include student IDs, but not names or other identifiable information, correct?
I think student IDs we've discovered that they are identifiable.
Yeah, I would leave those off.
Well, they're only identifiable to people who have access to STARS or your system, and so it would be we use student IDs on all of our reports that we receive, right? So I don't know how anyone who didn't have a right to know would be able to access information on a student based on their ID.
It's a good question, but I would still leave them off or black them out.
Okay, that makes it
Yeah.
hard to verify for you, but okay.
Well, no, so then when they come for a site visit, they'll look at the unredacted,
Gotcha, thank you.
okay? All right, so the financial reporting over the contract term, and I cannot emphasize this enough. If you have not if you've not asked your business manager to give the board an annual report using this table, please consider it. I think that, you know, it's something that they could do every year of the contract. It's valuable information. If you're doing it every year, your board can ask good questions. You'll have a good understanding, and maybe you would make some changes mid-year instead of waiting until the fourth year and doing it all at that point. So you are going to we do need to know, you know, this is the first year of the contract, this is the second year of the contract, and we want the amount in whole dollars and then the percentage of your budget. And again, you'll do that for all the first 4 years of your current contract. So for this example, the first year of this school's contract was fiscal year 20, then 21, 22, 23. You don't have to use fiscal year. I just like to use fiscal year if you prefer to use school year or whatever. Oh, I'm glad you can't hear the jackhammering. I wish I couldn't. It's really distracting. This, Tammy, is in the application. So this template is embedded in the application, and you would just make copies of it so that you would have 4. And I can help if there's confusion with where in the application, but it's part C, and so that's where that is. So the application is going to, we need you to use the current application kit. Again, I can send it to you if you're having trouble with downloading it or finding it. I just need you to let me know if you need me to send it to you. We will be having you upload it into Epicenter, which is our new platform. If you are a district charter and you want to apply with the PEC, we will help you with that upload. We will have to get you a login to Epicenter, and we can do all that. If you're somebody who's like, I don't want to tell them, I'm going to wait until October 1st to submit, that is fine. You would just email it to the Charter Schools Division, and then we can work on getting you an Epicenter login and things like that after October 1st. So either way is going to be fine. I think that nobody's really, I think most of you are getting comfortable with uploading things in Epicenter. But again, if you're not, or you want to have a training with Epicenter, we can arrange that as well. Just need to know. So for the renewal site visit, after the applications come in, well, probably, so for our state authorized schools, unless you've told us that you don't want to renew with us, we're just assuming that you will, and we'll probably be reaching out to you in September to set up the site visit schedule. Very happy that we don't have 20 schools going through renewal this year like last year. There's a manageable number of you. But we do need to work with you to make sure that you have school that day, you know, it's not, there's fall fiesta, there's all sorts of things happening in October at all your schools. And so we'll work with you on setting that schedule up. If you're district authorized, again, and you don't want to tell us till October 1st, if you're going to apply with the state, it's fine. We'll work on it from October 1st. If you're happy to tell us beforehand, we'll be working with you on setting up that in September. We'd send out our site visit protocol prior to and the schedule of events prior to the visit so that you know exactly what is going to, what's going to partake and what we need from you. So we try to make it as painless as possible. During the day, they will be interviewing students, staff, board members, your business manager as well. So board members, you know, you might have board members who can come to the school on that day at that time, and you might have others that are like, I can do a Zoom. So again, we could set Zooms up. The team will review your petition of support signatures at that time and any other data that's redacted that you submit to support your narratives.
Missy, don't forget, we also interview parents.
Parents, right. See, I knew I needed to fix a slide. We'll add parents before I send it out to you all. All right, so you've got, you know, right now you should be working on, if you haven't completed it already, the signatures from your staff and your households. So do that as soon as possible now. Then you can start working on your narratives, particularly for things where you know, well, the easiest ones would be like, we've exceeded or we've met the goal every year. So I can just put, we've met the goal every year. If you know that there's an area where you want to talk about the adult actions that you've been doing to improve outcomes, I think that that's appropriate too, to start working on that. And then when the Charter Schools Division gets you your annual report data, your Part A data, you can still respond to whatever is said in that report through your narrative, but no, you've already got stuff written. Then, of course, you're going to be submitting it October 1st. There'll be site visits. There's some back and forth with the recommendation from the Charter Schools Division and your response to that. And then we have the hearing in December. It's going to be the week of December 8th. So 8th, 9th, 10th, possibly the 11th, depending on the number of district authorized schools that apply with us. So the public education department will do their evaluation and do their bit. And I might be wrong about this. They might have put a limit on that of 10 minutes now. Like, seemed like we kept it to under 10 minutes last year. So that's the director of the Charter Schools Division basically saying, you know, summarizing the Part A of a report that we give to you. Then we offer it up to any tribal government entities that want to talk on behalf, either for or against your school. Hopefully it's for. So I do think that if you have a, you know, nice native population, or you've got great relationship with a tribal government and they do support your school and they're willing to provide commentary, that'd be lovely. If they want to provide something written, we can be read into the record at that time. We don't really time the tribal entities that want to make any comment. We do time public comments. There's 10 minutes total. It's not a lot. Then the school has 30 minutes. You can have a video or some other type of presentation. And then the PEC's question time, which is unlimited. So for your time, you can use it as you would like. A few years ago, the commissioners started sending out, once your application comes in and CSD gives their recommendation for renewal or renewal with conditions or non-renewal, the commission will send a letter. I think they try to send it early November, that will highlight the commissioners' areas of concern if they have any. All of the renewal hearings are on the YouTube channel. You can go look at them. 2 years ago, one of the schools, School of Dreams, their entire presentation time they used to address the concerns in the letter. I personally thought it was dry and boring, and you don't really get a fun sense of the school. Commissioners loved it. They loved that he spent so much time talking and addressing their concerns. So if the commission sends you a letter saying, we have concerns about X, Y, Z, and you want to spend the entire 30 minutes talking about that, they love that. They also, however, love when you bring your kids. Turquoise Trail this last December went way over. We're not going to allow that again. It's too much. They spent more than 30 minutes. They brought, I think, every kid in the school. The youngest kids sang a little song, and then they served everybody lunch. It was a huge hit, but so it's not fair when you bring your kids because they're cute and they love seeing the kids. But so it's up to you. You can, is J. Paul Taylor going to want to bring a busload of kids up here for a renewal hearing? Maybe, maybe not, right? So, it's not going to disadvantage you if you don't have the room packed full of families. It certainly is good to have that if you can, but not everybody is within easy distance of Santa Fe. So, and there's other ways people can show a lot of participation through, people joining on Zoom as well. So, if you are going to, whatever your response is, if you're just addressing any concerns that they've given you, or you're doing that and a presentation, I really, really recommend that you practice your timings. Even those of you who are old hands at this and you've done it a number of times, there's always a level of anxiety when you're in front of the commissioners. And so, practice it, so practice your timing so that that it's a good timing and good that you're going to use your 30 minutes wisely. If you are going to do any kind of video presentation, you do need to send it to us so that I can share it from the dais. Any questions on your presentation or the renewal hearings? So when it comes to the public comment, I want you all to remember that you get to choose who sits at the presenter's desk with you. If they're at the desk with you, if they're a member of your team, whether they're a board member or an attorney or a teacher, they don't have to, they shouldn't sign up for public comment. They have a ticket to speak because they're sitting at that table. It's the people who aren't part of that team responding to PC questions who should be signing up for public comment. Please advise any of your supporters who are going to be talking in favor of the school to remember that charter schools are public schools. Most people are doing a really good job with this over the last couple of years. We do occasionally get a few people, you know, saying, oh, we really didn't want to send our kid to public school. Well, they are sending their child to public school if they're at your school, right? So we want people who are willing to give up their time to show and stand up for how awesome your school is. Some schools have had, you know, everybody wear matching t-shirts, which is fun, but it's not necessary in any way, shape, or form. So everybody who comes into Mabry Hall has to sign up. That means you. So, you know, Eric, John, Nadine, when you guys come in, I need you to sign in. Nadine, if you bring your husband, I need him to sign in. You're not going to be taking public comment, but everybody at your school who's coming in, whether they're at the dais, your attorneys, they're the worst at signing in. I mean, I do tend to know who they all are and I get them, but it's helpful if you just sign in for me. That way I won't forget anybody. So we've modified our sign-in sheet a little bit to be more simplified. Just first name, last name. Am I speaking? Do I want to make public comment or not? When people are making public comments, they are asked to spell their name for the court reporter. They're asked to spell their last name. A lot of people spell their first and last name, which is fine. I do the timing, and it's 2 minutes. And I start the timing after they've spelled their name. I don't time people as they're spelling their name, as we're, you know, telling them or reminding them, we need you to spell your name. Well, I start the timer after that so that they have their full 2 minutes. So if you've got people joining on Zoom, we will have you know, a sign up on the screen that says how they can sign in through Zoom chat. Because we post these recordings on to the PEC's YouTube page, I prefer to have separate Zooms, but I'll have to see if any of the commissioners are going to be attending virtually. If they are, I'll probably just have to use the same link each day. But we will be sending that out so that you guys can send it out to your families. And then they just have to do that through Zoom chat. Tell us, you know, Missy Brown here speaking for J. Paul Taylor Academy, right? So people who are joining by telephone, it's helpful if somebody's going to attend by telephone, if they can let you know so that you can let me know. Those, depending on how tech savvy they are, if they're going to be able to know how to unmute themselves and sign up to speak. So if they know how to raise a digital hand from their phone, that'll be super helpful and we can get them signed up that way. So, you know, we get it done, but if they can let us know ahead of time, it makes it run more smoothly. Once the meeting starts, or once the first hearing starts, we do close the chat. All right, so again, sign-in sheet will be outside of Mabry Hall on a clipboard. Everybody signs in, indicating whether or not they want to make public comment. If they're at the presenter's desk with you, they don't need to make public comment, but they do need to sign in. So we do want the appendices to be named appropriately, so that we're not struggling to know which thing is for which. So we do have naming conventions. So, you know, A-1 academic data name, academic, so you would do A-1 academic data JPTA for J. Paul Taylor Academy. Like that'd be great. And again, if you don't have need of putting anything in there, like you don't have any complaint communications to the school, you would put in the narrative that we don't have any complaint communications to the school. And then we know that we're not looking for a B1 appendix. If you're a district applicant, we do have some additional appendices, F1 through 8. Your contract, financial statements, membership school, I'm not sure what that means. The 910B5s that you've submitted over the term of your contract, any site visits, if you've had site visits, any corrective action plans you've had over the term of the contract, your special education memorandum of understanding, and cash reports for the contract term. Any questions about that? Because that is what I have for you today. And we can just go over questions if you have any. When you're renewed. Oh, let's see. Hold on a second.